Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Okay, so today we're going undercover.
Ooh, sounds intriguing.
We're exposing the illegals program.
Okay.
It was this crazy network of Russian sleeper agents
Russian sleeper agents. Wow.
living like totally normal lives here in the US,
Like blending in.
totally blending in, but secretly working for the SVR.
Oh, wow.
Our main source for all this is the Wikipedia article.
Classic.
And let me tell you, this real-life spy story is wild.
I bet. I can't wait to hear more.
Yeah, you'll be surprised how it all unfolded.
So what makes this case so fascinating?
Well, unlike what you see in the movies.
Right, like stealing secret documents and stuff.
Exactly. It wasn't about that at all.
Huh. Interesting.
These illegals.
Illegals.
Yeah, that's what they were called.
Okay.
They were like deeply embedded agents.
Deeply embedded.
Planted by the SVR like years ago.
Wow, so they were in it for the long haul.
Totally. They spent years building these fake identities.
Fake identities, that's crazy.
Blending right into American society.
Like living double lives.
Exactly. And get this, some even had families.
Families. Wow, that's a whole other level.
Yeah, it adds a whole layer of complexity to it.
So how did they get caught?
Well, the FBI had this multi-year investigation going on.
Oh.
It was called Operation Ghost Stories.
Operation Ghost Stories. That sounds intense.
It was. They ended up arresting 10 of these sleeper agents right here in the U.S.
10. That's a lot.
Yeah, and they almost caught another one in Cyprus.
Almost.
Yeah, but they skipped bail.
Oh, so close. But if they weren't after top secret documents, what was their goal?
They were playing the long game.
Oh, I see. Like a strategic thing.
Exactly, building long-term influence.
Influence. Okay.
Yeah, they wanted to build relationships with, like, powerful people.
To get information, I'm guessing?
Yeah, to get insights into U.S. policy.
Nah.
On stuff like Central America, military affairs.
Ah, so they were after political intelligence.
Yeah, and even how the U.S. was using the internet to counter terrorism.
The internet, huh? Now, that's pretty forward thinking for, what was it, 2010?
Yeah, exactly. So they were looking ahead.
Definitely not your typical spy stuff.
Right. Not just placing someone in a job, but like cultivating a whole persona.
A persona that could open doors.
Yeah. Like this one agent, Donald Heathfield.
Donald Heathfield, okay.
His real name was Andrei Bezrukov.
Got it.
And get this, he earned an MPA from Harvard.
Harvard?
Seriously?
Seriously. The Kennedy School of Government.
That's incredible. Talk about dedication.
Right. I mean, that's a serious commitment to the role.
It shows you how serious they were about this whole operation.
Yeah, and think about the access he would have had.
Oh, yeah, to policymakers, future leaders.
Exactly, just by being there at Harvard.
That's a gold mine of information.
It's like something straight out of a spy thriller.
It is. So how do they communicate with Russia? Were we talking like James Bond gadgets?
Well, it was a mix.
A mix. Of what?
Of old school methods and modern technology.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like invisible ink.
No way, really? Yeah. And dead drops.
I can't even picture how you coordinate a dead drop.
I know, right? And even swapping identical bags in crowded places.
Oh, very sneaky.
But they were good at this stuff.
Clearly.
But they did use technology, too.
Okay, so what kind of technology?
Well, for example, one agent, Anna Chapman.
Anna Chapman, I've heard that name.
Yeah, she was caught transferring data to a Russian official using a laptop and a private Wi-Fi network at a coffee shop.
A coffee shop? That seems almost too easy.
I know, right? You'd think they would be more careful.
You would. But I guess sometimes the simplest methods are the best.
Maybe. But their luck eventually ran out.
What happened?
It was a high-ranking SVR officer, Alexander Portiev.
Alexander Podiev.
Yeah, he defected to the U.S.
He defected. Wow. Talk about betrayal.
Yeah, it was a huge blow to the program.
That's the risk you take in this line of work, I guess. Trust is everything.
Absolutely. And Podiev basically handed the FBI the keys to the kingdom.
So they had everything they needed to dismantle the whole operation.
Yeah, pretty much. It was a complete unraveling.
And what about Podiev? What happened to him?
He didn't get away scot-free.
I bet not.
Russia convicted him of treason in absentia.
Wow. So he paid a high price for his actions.
Yeah, the stakes were high for everyone involved.
It sounds like it. But it didn't end there, did it? There was a prisoner exchange.
Yeah, like something out of a Cold War movie.
Tell me more.
Okay, so 10 Russian agents.
The ones who got arrested?
Yep. They were exchanged for 4 individuals convicted of spying for the West.
For the West, so it went both ways.
It did. It was a tit-for-tat kind of thing.
Wow, so it's a big deal for both sides.
Huge. One of the people Russia released was Igor Sutyagin.
Igor Sutyagin.
Yeah, he was an arms control researcher,
What was he accused of?
passing secrets to a British company.
So, high-stakes espionage on both sides.
Definitely. This whole thing really highlights Russia's commitment
Commitment to what?
to maintaining a human intelligence network here.
Even after the Cold War.
Even after the Cold War ended, yeah.
That's a long time to keep something like that going.
I know, right? It shows you how important they thought it was.
It does make you wonder, doesn't it? What else is out there?
That's the scary part. This is just what we know about.
Yeah. Imagine what we don't know.
Right. But the illegals program didn't just affect the U.S. and Russia either.
Really? How so?
Well, the investigation revealed something interesting.
What was that?
They were using forged Irish passports.
Forged passports. For what?
To create identities for the agents.
Wow, they really thought of everything.
They did, but it backfired.
How?
It led to a Russian diplomat being expelled from Ireland.
Expelled from Ireland. Wow, so it had international consequences.
It shows you how far-reaching these operations can be.
They really can touch different countries and systems.
Yeah, it's not just about spies and secrets.
Right, there are real-world consequences.
The real people's lives are affected.
Like those families we talked about earlier.
Exactly. Think about the kids who grew up with no idea about their parents' double lives.
That must have been a huge shock for them.
It makes you wonder what kind of psychological impact that has.
Absolutely. To have your whole world turned upside down like that is a lot to process.
Yeah, a lot to process. And it makes you think, too, if these agents were so good at blending in.
Right. Like, how many more could be out there?
Exactly. It's a chilling thought, isn't it?
It is. It really makes you question everything.
And everyone?
Like, the people you interact with every day could be
someone completely different.
It's like that show, The Americans.
Oh, yeah, with the KGB agents posing as a normal couple.
Exactly. Sometimes fiction isn't that far from reality.
Especially when it comes to espionage.
And the illegals program is a perfect example.
It shows how effective human intelligence gathering can be.
And how long these operations can go on for.
Like, think about the Cambridge Five.
Oh yeah, those British intellectuals recruited by the Soviets.
Back in the 1930s.
They infiltrated the highest levels of British society.
And it all happened right under everyone's noses.
Just like the illegals program.
It shows the strategic value of deep cover agents.
Planting them and waiting, sometimes for decades.
It's about gaining access that traditional methods can't.
Makes you wonder how they find these people, recruit them.
I know, right? What kind of person can do that?
Live a lie, blend in, withstand all that pressure.
It must take a special kind of personality, that's for sure.
Definitely. And incredible psychological resilience.
And the handlers, too.
Oh yeah, the ones running the whole show from afar.
Imagine the skill it takes to orchestrate something like that.
The recruitment, the training, the communication, it's a whole other world.
A whole clandestine network operating in the shadows.
It really makes you think about the motivations behind it all.
What drives someone to become a sleater agent?
Especially with all the risks involved.
I mean, what's in it for them?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right. Is it ideology? Thrill?
A sense of duty, maybe?
Or just the challenge of it all?
It'd be fascinating to get inside their heads.
I know, right? Understand their choices.
Their struggles, their triumphs, their failures.
It's like a puzzle.
And each piece, each story, adds to the bigger picture.
Do you think they ever have second thoughts?
About their choices?
Yeah. Or feel conflicted about the deception?
I'm sure there are moments of doubt.
Especially for those with families.
Imagine keeping that secret from your loved ones.
That must create incredible internal pressure.
It would. And what about the people they deceive?
The relationships built on lies.
The trust they violate.
It's the ethical dilemma of espionage. National security versus
Personal freedom.
and the moral ambiguity of it all.
It's a question that's been debated for centuries.
And there are no easy answers.
No, but you have to admit, the illegals program was audacious.
It was. The planning, the commitment, the network.
It's both impressive and a bit unsettling.
It's mind-blowing.
It shows the lengths some will go to achieve their objectives.
And it reminds us that espionage is a high-stakes game.
With very real consequences.
This whole deep dive has really opened my eyes.
To what's going on beneath the surface.
Yeah, the hidden networks, the secrets.
It's a world we rarely get to see.
And the illegals program gives us a glimpse.
But it leaves us with more questions than answers.
It definitely does. I'm already thinking about other illegal agent cases throughout history.
There are plenty of them out there.
If this one operation was so extensive, what else is there?
That's a question worth exploring.
It is. But before we go down that rabbit hole...
We should probably wrap up this one.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have. And it's a lot to think about.
Definitely. But that's what deep dives are for.
To make us think, question, and explore.
Exactly. And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder.
All the questions we've raised today.
And maybe do some exploring of your own.
See what other secrets you can uncover.
And maybe keep an eye on your neighbors, just in case.
You never know who you're really dealing with.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the illegals program.
It's been a pleasure, as always.
Until next time, keep exploring and stay curious.
And stay safe out there.
Yeah.
It really does.
It's wild, right?
It is.
But it makes me think, like, if these agents were so good at blending in, how many more could there be out there?
That is a chilling thought, isn't it?
It is.
The illegals program. Yeah, we know about that now.
Right.
But
who knows?
I mean, there aren't others.
Yeah, operating undetected.
Right under our noses.
Exactly. It really makes you question
Who can you trust?
everything. And like the people you interact with every day.
Your neighbor?
Could be someone completely different.
A sleeper agent.
Right. It's like that show, The Americans.
Oh, yeah, I love that show.
With the...
with Carrie Russell, right.
Yeah, and Matthew Russ.
Yeah.
Posing as, like, this normal American couple.
Totally normal.
Yeah, they were...
Deep cover KGB agents.
Exactly.
See, fiction is often, like, mirroring reality.
It is, and the illegals program is a great example of that.
Totally.
It shows just how effective
At what?
human intelligence gathering can be.
Oh, for sure.
And it also shows, like...
Like what?
how long these operations can actually go on.
For years. Decades, even.
Decades, yeah. Like, for instance, the Cambridge Five.
Oh, the Cambridge Five, that's a classic British intellectual.
Recruited by the Soviets.
Back in the 1930s.
Way back then.
I can't even imagine.
They managed to infiltrate...
Infiltrate what?
the highest levels of British society.
Wow, right to the top.
And nobody even suspected a thing.
That's wild.
It's crazy, right?
It is.
Just like the illegals program,
Yeah.
it really highlights
Who does it highlight?
the strategic value
Of what?
of these deep cover agents.
Deep cover agents, yeah.
You know, like planting them.
And just waiting.
And waiting, sometimes for decades.
It takes patience.
It does. And it's all about gaining access
To what?
to information
Okay.
that traditional methods just can't get.
They're like ghosts.
They are. It makes you wonder, though.
About what?
Like, how do they even find these people?
Recruit them.
Yeah. What kind of person?
Can live that kind of life.
I know. It's mind-boggling
It is.
to live a lie like that.
To blend in.
To withstand that pressure.
A constant fear of exposure.
It must take a very specific kind of personality.
Like the rest.
And the handlers, too.
Oh, yeah, the puppet masters.
Right. The ones running the whole operation from afar.
Imagine the skills it takes to do that.
I know, right?
The recruitment process, the training, the communication protocols.
It's like a whole other world.
It is a clandestine network.
Operating in the shadows.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
About what?
About their motivations.
Oh, yeah, the motivation.
What drives someone to become a sleeper agent?
Right, especially when you consider
The risks.
the risks involved.
I mean, what's the payoff?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. Is it ideology?
Is it the thrill?
Could be a sense of duty.
Or maybe just the challenge?
Who knows?
It would be fascinating to get inside their heads.
Yeah, to understand their thought processes.
To understand, like,
Their choices.
their choices, yeah. Their struggles.
Their triumphs.
Their failures.
Like a puzzle, isn't it?
It is, kinda.
Each story, each piece adds to this bigger picture.
Yeah, for sure.
But do you think they ever, like, have second thoughts
About what?
about their choices?
Yeah.
Or feel conflicted about the deception?
You know, I'm sure there are moments of doubt.
I bet there are.
Especially for the ones who had families.
Right.
Imagine keeping that secret from your loved ones.
That must be a heavy burden.
It must create immense internal pressure.
It would?
And then there's the people they deceived,
The people they betrayed.
the relationships that were built on lies.
The trust that was violated.
It's the ethical dilemma at the heart of espionage.
Right. How do you justify that?
It's national security, yeah.
But at what cost?
At what cost? It's a tough question.
Yeah, it is a tough question.
But you have to admit, the illegals program was pretty audacious.
It was. The sheer audacity of it.
The level of planning.
The years of commitment.
The intricacies of the network.
It's impressive.
And a little bit unsettling.
It's both.
It's mind-blowing.
It just goes to show.
What does it show?
The lengths that some will go to.
To achieve their goals.
Exactly. And it also reminds us
About what?
that espionage is a high-stakes game.
It's not all fun and games.
No, it's not.
There are very real consequences.
For everyone involved.
This deep dive has been like a real eye-opener for me.
Me too.
I had no idea.
How much goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah, all the hidden networks, the secrets.
The world that's hidden from view.
And the illegals program gives us a little peek.
Just a glimpse.
But it leaves us with more questions than answers.
It always does.
It does. I'm already thinking about other illegal agent cases throughout history.
Oh, there are tons.
Like if this one operation was so extensive.
Just imagine what else is out there.
It's a rabbit hole, for sure.
It's a deep one.
But before we jump into another rabbit hole.
We should probably wrap things up here.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
And it's a lot to think about.
It is.
But that's what deep dives are all about.
Right.
To make us think, question, and explore.
Exactly. It is a deep one.
So before we get lost in there,
Yeah.
let's circle back to the illegals program.
Okay.
What happened to the agents after they were deported back to Russia?
Well, reports suggest they were welcomed back as heroes.
Heroes.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a twist.
It is, isn't it? They even received recognition.
Recognition from who?
From the Russian government, of course.
For their service.
For their service.
That's crazy. Talk about a different perspective.
Espionage is definitely a matter of perspective.
It is.
One country's threat.
Is another country's necessity.
Exactly.
But even with all that recognition,
yeah.
I wonder how they readjusted.
To normal life.
Yeah, after being exposed.
Must be a strange experience.
To have that carefully crafted identity.
The life you built.
Suddenly ripped away.
It must have been a jarring transition.
And what about all the relationships they formed?
The friendships.
Based on lies.
Right, all built on a false premise.
It's almost Shakespearean.
The deception.
The betrayal.
The consequences.
It really makes you think.
About what?
About the long-term effects of living a double life.
Psychological effects.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, do you think they ever truly felt at home anywhere?
After all that?
Were they able to let go of the past?
And embrace a new life.
It's hard to say.
It is.
We might never know the answers to those questions.
Probably not.
But their stories serve as a powerful reminder.
Of what?
That espionage isn't just some theoretical concept.
It's real.
It has real-world consequences.
That ripple outward.
Affecting not just the agents themselves.
But everyone around them.
Exactly.
It's a lot to ponder.
It is. It makes you think about the balance.
Between what?
Between national security.
Okay.
And personal freedom. The ethical choices governments make.
And the impact on the individuals caught in the middle.
This whole illegals program, it's been a real eye-opener.
Hasn't it?
It really has.
It makes you realize how much we don't know.
About the world around us.
Exactly. But that's the beauty of exploration, isn't it?
It is.
There's always more to discover.
Always something new to learn.
Who knows what other secrets are out there?
Waiting to be uncovered.
Waiting to be exposed.
Well, on that note,
yeah,
we'll leave you to ponder those questions.
And maybe do some exploring of your own.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the illegals program.
It's been a fascinating journey.
Until next time, keep exploring. Stay curious.
And maybe keep an eye on your neighbors.
You never know who you're really dealing with.